the American people stand firm in the faith which has inspired this nation from the beginning. We believe that all men have a right to equal justice under law and equal opportunity to share in the common good. We believe that all men have the right to freedom of thought and expression. We believe that all men are created equal because they are created in the image of God. From this faith, we will not be moved.
Hello, and God bless America. Welcome into the Freedom of Thought podcast. I'm your host, Paladino Joey, or Joey Awajan. Freedom of Thought is available on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, iHeartRadio, TuneIn Radio, Audible, Stitcher, Double Twist, and I'm sure there's some others as well. Great to be on board once again with you today. And I deeply, deeply apologize for the extremely long delay from last show to this show, February 21st. I'm really sorry. I especially apologize to Mark Carlson, who made a lot of great posts on the Facebook page, and in a lot of ways, I'm here to empty the mailbag today, basically. Like all the great posts, going to read and hear what other people had to say and such. That's mostly what I'm here for, and of course, I'm going to have a little miniature rant about this whole vaccine situation. So that's mainly the plan for the show today. Just getting caught up, and of course, again, this vaccine situation, which was driving me nuts, especially in the workplace. So I'll lead off with that, and then I'll jump into the conversation on the Facebook page, facebook.com/freedom of thou 1770. Oh, yeah, Freedom of Thought 1776. So it is the whole thing. I will put that in the show description for all of you to see. The Twitter account is at Freedom of Thou 76, and the Parler account is at Freedom of Thought 1776. So there you go. You'll see all that in the show description and the email address. Again, also, if you'd like to submit an audio submission, it'd be great to hear from you. Send in an audio submission from your smart device. I'll probably wrap up the show with that. I'll even mention it right now as well. All you got to do is, on any free smart device on the planet, or any smart device on the planet, there's free applications. Simply open it, treat it like a phone call. When you press record, hit stop, save it, save it in email or share it to paladinolive@yahoo.com, and I will then load it onto the show, and we can hear from you. That'd be great. So again, I deeply apologize for the delay in between the last couple of shows. Just kind of kept putting it off and kept getting distracted with other things and the other podcasts I do and work and this and that and other appointments. I apologize. I probably could have done a couple of shows in between that, so my bad, and I'm going to pray to be better about this if humanly possible. So again, just in the workplace, people are just virtue signaling all the time. Facebook pages, Twitter accounts, just the constant virtue signaling about, I got my vaccine. I got my vaccine. I feel so good about myself. Take a look at this paper. I got my vaccine. Aren't you proud of me? Aren't you proud of me? I got my vaccine. I'm better than you because if you don't get it, you're an idiot. And blah, blah, blah. And stay away from me. And okay, great. What's the vaccine really accomplishing? Tell me, please, somebody tell me what the vaccine is accomplishing. Let's see. It doesn't prevent you from getting the virus, actually. It actually doesn't. You still have to wear a mask every time you go anywhere. And I don't know, when people kind of there's almost a vibe. Like they're almost like thinking down of you when you say, and it's an option in the workplace now, where I work. It's an option in the workplace. Joey, opting in, opting out. I say no, and they're like, okay. Like, okay, like, are you crazy? And they're like, what a dummy, you know. That's the vibe I almost feel. Hopefully I'm reading into it the wrong way. It drives me nuts. And everybody's just so damn proud of it, which is annoying. Local radio, it's obnoxious. Facebook, it's obnoxious. It's just, I don't know. I don't want to see those kind of posts. I just want to say something, but sometimes it's better not to. But at the end of the day, I just feel people that are obsessed with it are fooled. It's okay if you get it. It's not the end of the world, necessarily. I'm not seeing people dropping dead from it, necessarily, but I've heard a lot of bad things about it. I don't feel comfortable with it. I don't feel comfortable with it at all. And I've heard about how it's, in some cases, like Hank Aaron, people like him, how they did die right away. And other people have had older family members that got killed from it. Ben Stein, check out what he had to say. You could probably find that anywhere on Google. Like his response, especially to the second shot. That's what drives me. That's what bugs me really about this whole thing is 2 shots? Why do we need 2? It just sounds kind of creepy to me. And the way the media and the public are like obsessing over it, and it's got to happen. You've got to do it. It sounds creepy. And when the public and the media obsess over something, I almost always go the other way because it can't be good. It almost never is. It almost never is. It's creepy. It creeps me out, and I don't know. That's just my take on it. So now I'm going to get to Mark Carlson visitor posts before I talk about my posts. My posts, because they're so important. No, they're not. Visitor posts are more important as far as I'm concerned because you took the time, Mark Carlson out of Iowa, to post and have a lot to say here. Please do keep posting. Please do keep posting, Mark. I appreciate it so much because I noticed he eventually stopped in late March. Probably was like, okay, is he ever going to do the damn show again? I'm sorry, Mark. I really am. I'm still here. Obviously, you got to hear the Purple Mafia show, the draft preview, and all that, and free agency and conversation in between then. So Mark has probably enjoyed those. He's just an awesome guy out of Iowa. And he sees the world similar to myself and those of you listening, most likely. The target audience of the show, so to speak. Christian conservative Americans, as far as I'm concerned. Christian conservative Americans or American immigrants that are Christian conservatives. Because not every immigrant should be voting for the blue side. Because they really shouldn't. Any immigrant that feels that they're obligated to vote Democrat are fooled. They're absolutely fooled. I think that's crazy. Luckily, my wife is not that way. But she would not be happy if she knew that I do this show on a regular basis or semi-regular basis. She's kind of scared of the whole political scene, which is unfortunate, but she came from a country that was communist, Vietnam. So it's just a different world over there. Unfortunately, it's starting to head towards that world, slowly but surely, much more rapidly ever since a certain false president took over. Mark Carlson on the Facebook page, facebook.com/freedom of thought 1776 says, "What the hell is wrong with people, particularly in the USA? What's with all the hate? Shit, you have about everything you want. And on top of the marijuana being legalized just about everywhere, the government is sending a check out about every 6 months. No longer are there long lines at stores, and most things get delivered to your door. Yeah, like say, prescriptions from Walgreens. Like I actually have it delivered, if you can believe it, because you don't want to get in line waiting for people getting COVID tests because they like to take their sweet time. There's toilet paper everywhere. There's paper towels everywhere. There's hand sanitizer everywhere. You go to Target, it's there. So it's not like a year ago when it was real tough about this time, April. He was saying, let's continue. You don't have to go to work. Yeah, those people, which drive me crazy. Yep. Like, why are they complaining? These same morons that don't even have to go to work. And it drives me nuts. You get paid to stay home, so why all the hate? Calm down, people. Hey, if you want to burn something down, start with your own house, your own street, and your own city block. Stop protesting everything and go do something positive with all your free time, like help your neighbor or at least go wash your car. Yeah, clean car, better attitude." That was great. Yep. See, stuff like that. Thank you, Mark. Isn't that awesome? And that can get anybody started on a lot of this going on. See, because, again, that's why I want to empty the mailbag, because, it's a lot to say. It's like literally bringing topics to the show. Literally bringing topics to the show. And, again, the logic of tearing down statues and property is just, it doesn't make any sense. Especially Abraham bleeping Lincoln. Like, okay, so you're Black Lives Matter or Antifa or whatever. It's probably more Antifa than Black Lives Matter. That's the vibe I'm getting. But still, you're tearing down Abe Lincoln. Hello? Whether you're BLM or Antifa, they're very similar. Abe Lincoln, really? Emancipation Proclamation? Did you forget about that? Ulysses S. Grant, they tore down his statue. Let's see, he was the general of the Union Army, and he was the first civil rights president. Just look it up. Look up the history. It's there. Look it up. It's there. The first legitimate civil rights president of the United States. Abe Lincoln and Ulysses S. Grant, the general of the Union Army. Risk their dang lives out there for a big part of that. Representing Abe Lincoln, the Union, and the Emancipation Proclamation. Also, the fact they didn't want the southern states to secede and all that. Shoot, it's pretty crazy. It's a crazy world out there. It really is. And we'll talk about the stadiums and such, too, as we get further into the show. Stadiums getting filled in certain parts of the country. Congratulations, Texas, and how it's an all-time low for COVID cases because it's all merged together. Cold and flu and pneumonia and all that, all with corona. It's just an absolute fraud what's happening. So pneumonia and flu are all merged with corona, so it's all one. So if you have pneumonia or the flu, you're a coronavirus. Yep. What a bunch of crap, huh? What a bunch of crap. That's how it all disappeared. Oh, the flu's gone now. No, it isn't. You're just lying. That's all. And these doctors are going on, like, important radio shows locally and nationally and saying all this garbage. It's just unbelievable. It's unbelievable. They're saying it too, and it's literally up in your face what's going on. And people still buy into it hook, line, and sinker. And they got to get that vaccine, boy. Get that vaccine. You didn't get your vaccine? What's your problem? You didn't get your vaccine, huh? You didn't get your vaccine. Good for you. Okay, and I'm saying that with a thumbs up. Mark Carlson continues, says, this link will take you to a very recent video by True North regarding the current situation in Canada, the virus and lockdowns. While it's a bit long, it's very relevant. We are facing the same things, lockdowns and government issues, and even Facebook censorship. Yeah, it's pretty unbelievable. Do check that out. It's there. I should share it probably on the main page if possible, but I think I can. I'm pretty sure I can. I don't know if it lets me. No. Damn it. I know I can, actually. So I could just... It's not letting me do what I want to do. I'll come back to it later and probably share it if I get the chance here. So, and of course, Facebook wants to... Yep, okay, here we go. Here's the vaccine related. Will this vaccine... Mark Carlson says, will this vaccine be mandated for all citizens, for travelers? What about millions who live in the USA that are undocumented? Mm-hmm. And then here we go. Here's Facebook jumping in on it. Visit the COVID-19 Information Center for Vaccine Resources. Get vaccine info. So, let me see. Okay, so there's a couple comments in this one. Joel Elbert, welcome aboard, says, and the untold numbers of illegals coming in every day. What's their vaccination history for all the illness we get in the U.S.? We in the U.S. get vaccinated for. Why do they get a pass? Mark says, that's a great question. Where are their papers? Who are they? Exactly. We don't even know who they are. They could be anybody. They could be Jack Prescott, 45 years old or 99 years old, or whatever. They could be this person or that person. It's just a lot of bull, isn't it? Mark says, war of words stated. Russia's envoy to U.S. in Moscow after a spat over Biden's comments. Yeah, that was just unbelievable. Biden basically saying how Putin's basically a killer and he's pure evil and this and that. It's just, really Biden? Really Biden? Like, it's like Democrats hate war, huh? Democrats hate war? Seriously. We never went to a war with Donald Trump. We never came close. He prevented a war with North Korea. Bush kind of just messed around and fiddled. He was like Nero while Rome burned. And then Obama basically saber-rattled with everybody all the time. Like Syria, Russia, North Korea. I don't know what Obama really was up to be quite honest. It's just I don't know. Obama just... don't even get me started on that guy. There we go. More stuff here. Posts about George Floyd and all that. Yeah, but it's an image of it. And then Mark also says, don't you think, with all that's going on in Portland, Seattle, and Minneapolis, with the seemingly uncontrollable protests and violent institution of their own zones of law and rule, especially like Portland, holy cow, these areas are local and state governments. These areas where local and state governments are not allowed to enter or enforce law and order, and for some reason, federal government has, for the most part, stayed uninvolved. Don't you think these are the first fragments of a divided society that may possibly be laying the foundation for a much larger issue and possible conflict? Yeah, literally, like a civil war moving forward. And I had people making fun of me, I won't name names, saying, this is what you support, Joey. These are the kind of people that attack the Capitol. Where's a conservative wearing a shirt saying, Civil War. Yeah, that's not true. That's just, it's just not true. And if anybody was, they're just, there's a couple of knuckleheads in every group at the end of the day. But the real people that want a civil war and are literally like engaging in civil war behavior are these people, these radical leftists. The radical left, and it's mostly, in a lot of ways, it's a democratic civil war. It's a Democrat civil war, which has been mentioned on the Tucker Carlson and such. The radical left versus the old left. It's also been mentioned on Steve Turley and such like that. It's interesting stuff. Mark continues, when I get the chance here before I cough. Another thought: this is your country, your state, your community, your taxes, your streets, your public areas. what is going on here is very un-American and unconstitutional. If you defund law enforcement, there will be more of this, I am sure. Think about that. Oh, yeah. It just opens a door to it. And just imagine what kind of nonsense Ilhan Omar locally in the Twin Cities is looking for. Obviously, this is a national show, mostly American, I'm sure, but it could be going on anywhere. I am local in Minnesota, Golden Valley, Minnesota. For those of you that could be listening from anywhere, this and that. It's very un-American, and it's heading things in the wrong direction. Mark continues again saying, this is interesting. A volcano in Iceland erupts for the first time in 6,000 years. Here's the live stream. Now, how are they going to offset all that? Yeah, carbon emission. Can we tax the people of Iceland? I am sure this event could have been prevented if only we had followed what Al Gore said years ago. Or is it just Mother Nature and the planet doing what the planet does? Mark from Iowa. Yeah, it's the planet doing what the planet does. You know what? And if anything, see, if anything, this is what the Democrats are doing. This is what not Democrats necessarily, but yeah, globalists, which generally are Democrats, but yeah, you get the idea. Democrat types. Globalists, like our best friend by the name of Bill Gates, William Bill Gates, who's him and his wife Melinda are like leading Planned Parenthood. Boy, that's great. That's a great organization of greatness and love and life. Boy, that's really loving life. It's eliminating people before they get a chance to breathe oxygen on planet Earth. Pretty cool. But carbon emissions, but no, also what Al Gore has been doing. I just said Al Gore, but Bill Gates has been supporting for a long time is these, I forget what the term was now, but it's these crystals that are put into jet fuel that weren't there before, that are literally used to reflect light in the atmosphere. It comes out in the exhaust from airplanes, the chemtrails and all that we've been hearing about for a while. But it's literally like these crystals that would reflect the light back out into the atmosphere, the sunlight back out into the atmosphere, thus creating global cooling, just like what a volcano does when it kind of cools the earth. Do you remember, those of you locally and probably in other parts of the United States, the summer of 1992, there was a pretty big volcanic eruption before that summer, and before 93 also. It was kind of like around that time, there were some huge volcanic eruptions. 1992 and even 93, they were very cool summers, but 92 especially. There were like 59-degree days in July. It was weird. I mean, I'm talking like, look outside right now, currently here in Golden Valley, there is a veil of clouds, unfortunately. And, imagine it's July and it's about 59 degrees for the high. That's kind of weird. And it happened a lot in 92. That was volcanic eruptions. And, well, that's what your friend Bill Gates, who wants you all to be vaccinated, is also up to. So we're global cooling, now because of climate change. We got to save the world, We got to save the world, Bill. Mark continues saying, and speaking of Iceland, this is a follow-up to the post I made about a volcano in Iceland. This is where Mr. Kerry, that would be John Kerry, the former, and thank God about former Secretary of State, but he's got a new job now with this SOB, Biden himself, flew on his private jet to accept an award for his efforts involving climate change. I guess he couldn't fly with the rest of us on commercial airliners. He is really, really important. He has really, really important stuff to do. And his friends, did you catch the interview with him when he was questioned about flying all the way to Iceland to accept this award in a private jet? Hilarious. He says he is offsetting his carbon and dedicated to fight climate change almost full time. If someone has a link to that interview, post it here. Oh my. I wish they did. Yeah, this is an article. This might be. Oh, it's saying video unavailable. Imagine that. Ooh. Yeah, imagine that. Here's a comment. And, yep, Mark Carlson says, Kerry, explanation condensed. I'm so important to the climate that I have to fly private. Yeah, sounds about right, my friend. Mark, sounds about right. This is good. These are so good. Here's another one. Mark says, National Rifle Association, America's Freedom Magazine, April 2021 edition. This is a photo of the front cover. Yep, it's freedom and censored. Yeah, they're saying how it's censored across the gun. Big tech is muzzling gun owners, and you betcha. That looks pretty cool. Living in a ghost town, YouTube music. Looks like the Rolling Stones with the big tongue and the lips and everything. Living in a ghost town. And Mark says, Europe is now shutting down yet another wave of virus scares. And here is a link to a new song by the Rolling Stones that lays it out clearly. Living in a ghost town. I like that. Mark here again, one last time, says, here is a thought. After all the trouble to distribute the administer the COVID-19 vaccine, after all the experiences involved, what if the infection rate does not change? Asking for a friend. Exactly. What if it doesn't change? The talk is that it's not really going to make any difference. But yet everybody's running to it and even posting on Facebook how proud they are about they got the vaccine. And talk has been on the InfoWars and other shows that side effects could really take over in the next couple of years. There could be some really bad days for a lot of people coming up soon. I'm just not comfortable. Also talk on Truth to Ponder recently is about that there is a newer vaccine that could be coming out in about a year or so that is much safer. And that could be the direction you want to go if you want to take a vaccine. That it'll be much safer, it'll be much more tested, this and that. And it'll actually do what a vaccine is supposed to do, prevent a disease or a sickness or whatever, like the tuberculosis and tetanus and all that stuff. It'll actually be a real one, where this one is the one getting rolled out to cause other issues, like massive, what do they call it? Very dangerous situations, basically. I was searching for the word. It's autoimmune response, basically something like that, where it's kind of like the opposite. It's like kablooey. It's extremely bad news. Autoimmune response. It's like I knew it, but, all these terms and all that, you just kind of blank out. It's really dangerous, super bad. And this is probably the most dangerous possible side effect for this vaccine is an autoimmune response where it literally does the opposite. You're much more vulnerable to it than ever, and kablooey, and other things can happen. Like you get pneumonia, the flu, this and that, and you don't come out of it. You just don't. Flip Saunders years ago, when he was having chemotherapy for Hodgkin's disease, for his his thyroid, they call that. It's in your neck, your throat, whatever. It's 80% plus recovery rate. I forget it was 80 or 90% recovery rate. Like, people usually come home from it. It's just you still have to go through the chemo. It's dangerous and this and that. Obviously, it could kill you if you don't treat it. Yeah, it could eventually kill you. And then, unfortunately, there is another side to chemotherapy. It kind of shuts down your immune system. And Flip Saunders had what was an autoimmune response. That's basically what it was, a pneumonia or something like that. He suddenly got a fever, collapsed. That sounds familiar, actually. When you get sick, a sickness, you get a fever, and his body couldn't fight it off. He went in a medical-induced coma. A month later, he died. And it was one of the saddest days ever for Minnesota Timberwolves, NBA fans locally, and really fans all over the NBA. Was he the greatest coach ever? No, but he was one of the greatest guys ever. He was a fantastic president of basketball operations for the Minnesota Timberwolves. Like, just one of the greatest people ever. Everybody that met him said he was like the nicest guy ever, and including people I've met have said the same thing. But yeah, just saying, there's side effects to everything. Just sometimes you're that's an example of an autoimmune response. That's pretty much what killed Flip Saunders. It wasn't Glenn Taylor, Kevin Garnett. It was an autoimmune response. Glenn Taylor didn't do it. So obviously with Garnett, seems to think Glenn Taylor is the root of all evil. I don't know. I'm not a big fan of Kevin Garnett anymore. I used to be once upon a time, but I'm not. Obviously his attitude stinks, and there's a lot in his book that would tell you how much his attitude stinks, just like Randy Moss too. So look at this one. I posted this at Chicken Nuggets, basically, CHK Nuggets, says, forgetting a mask for a few seconds is so embarrassing. I'm terrified of someone thinking I'm a Republican. Yeah, you're a Chicken Nuggets, all right. Ugh, what a dipstick. I don't know, prevent me from swearing. Yep, it's just, that's what people on Twitter are nuts. Here's another one, justice for George Floyd. This is another rant that I had during the course of time. I couldn't believe it. $27 million settlement from the city of Minneapolis. $27 million to George Floyd's family. And I know this is a very interesting, intense topic locally. Right now the case is happening, and the prosecution's presenting everything, and they're just geniuses, and anybody that might not see them eye to eye with everything the prosecution is presenting must be a flat-out racist and this and that. It's sickening. I don't agree. I just don't. And yeah, before the trial too. Joel Elbert, I used to call him Ebert, which is wrong. It's Elbert, says, if they were trying to spoil a jury pool, mission accomplished. And Mark Carlson says, absolutely, Joel. Mark Carlson says again, who can defund the local police department and just give away the money, I guess? We can do that. Yeah, we can defund the local PD and just give away the money, I guess, before the trial. Yeah, he couldn't believe it. $27 million. Really? You know how much money they got, by the way, from donations during the course of all this stuff happening since last June? You know how many donations? It's in the millions already. I think within like a month they had already like $500,000. That's more than I've ever had, ever. And I know I didn't have a relative, die at the hand of a police officer or die for other reasons while he was at the hand of a police officer, regardless of how this turns out. I'm not racist. I don't hate anybody, but I don't like how this is being handled. I don't like the attitude. I don't like the chip on the people's shoulder out there. If you come up to me from, say, you're from this group or whatever, and you have a chip on your shoulder, I don't like you. I don't like you. It's the attitude that counts more than anything. You come up to me with an attitude, I don't like you. I don't want to hear it, man. And just you don't know me. What's the attitude for? And don't accuse me of being a racist before you even meet me, or because I make a statement that you don't like. You don't agree with this and that. I don't have to agree with you either. That's just the way it goes. We don't have to agree on every little damn thing under the sun. It does not make me a racist. It doesn't make me ignorant. It makes me, it means I have a different opinion, which I have every right to have. Every right to have. Final post I made on the Facebook page was, when somebody asks me why I don't trust the government. Yeah, this is, it's using Homer Simpson with a sheet of paper. Here we go. MK Ultra, Operation Northwoods, Operation Paperclip, Operation Fast and Furious, Operation Mockingbird, Tuskegee Experiments, Waco, Texas. Waco, yep. Boy, oh boy. 1993 already. Yeah, that's a long time ago. Ruby Ridge, JFK. Yeah, all the information on JFK. We might have an episode about JFK later on, and I think we should. That could just be just one episode. JFK. NSA spying, Building 7. Building 7, that's a whole episode in itself. Building 7. Gulf of Tonkin, that would be the Vietnam War, how we got that started. Chicago black sites. Flint water crisis. Iran-Contra, and believe it or not, unfortunately, that was during Ronald Reagan's presidency, unfortunately. And, it just was. Gary Webb. NDAA Patriot Act, that started... that was made public with George W. Bush, but there is... proof out there that the Patriot Act was already in existence during the Bill Clinton era. That a lot of random public phone lines were randomly tapped. Millions of phone lines were tapped during the Clinton era. So it actually started during the Clinton era, but was made public thanks to September 11th. September 11th, okay, good. A perfect crisis. Never let a crisis go to waste. That's the globalist mantra. Never let a good crisis go to waste. It's not just Rahm Emanuel. It's George H.W. Bush, George W. Bush. It's all of them, man. It's anybody that would be a globalist, be a neocon or a neolib or a lib, whatever the heck they are. It's bad news. Bilderberg Group is obviously really bad. Bohemian Grove, Northern California. Supposedly, it's Republicans. No, it's not all Republicans. It's everybody. And it's extremely homosexual activity going on, too. Pardon me for the noise. Very homosexual activity going on. Richard Nixon went there and he said that was the most bleeping homosexual thing I've ever seen in my life. That was his statement afterwards to somebody. Abu Ghraib and Guantanamo Bay. It is just... Yeah, lots of crap that's happened. JFK, that's a huge one, man. I mean, just think about it. Building 7, ooh, it's globalist. It is globalist. That's your number one enemy, ladies and gentlemen. It's not even about R&D, though I'd say Republicans agree with a lot more than what Democrats do, especially nowadays. The radical left that hate God, they hate Christmas, they hate everything, basically. They hate success. They hate anybody having any type of financial success, like doing a good job, so to speak. They want others to just stay home and chill and collect from the government and, but also be dependent on the government. Not just collect from the government, but be dependent on it, which is extremely frustrating. Another thing popped up. That's funny, but nothing wrong with that, I guess. At least not what I'm seeing right at the moment. But it's just a friend here. Annoying sounds upstairs again. It's always going to be that, regardless of who it is. But with that said, it was really nice to empty the mailbox. I think that was very much necessary coming in to this show. I mean, I feel so bad, and I hope Mark, keep posting, brother. I love you so much, Mark Carlson, and others out there. Joel Elbert, people like that. Post, Gerald String, post for sure. There were some conversations as well, but I didn't even watch the video yet. That's where I feel bad about a video that was shared. And I need, not video, it was something read. Maybe I should read it right here. I should have even shared it on the show. It was shared to me from Kathy Main on my regular Facebook. I'm just going to read it right now because I can. Yeah, that's not that long. Comment from Kamala, that would be Vice President, false Vice President Kamala Harris, regarding VA facilities. The United States government cannot continue to pay for every need of what has become a special class of citizen. Wow. Veterans are equal to us, not better than. Veteran Affairs coddles them. It creates a dependency upon us, which is not doing these former soldiers any good. Kamala, come on. Kamala, tell that to the people that voted to you. About how many percent? I'd like to know. At least 50% of the people that voted for you enthusiastically because they don't want to do a gosh darn thing for earning any dollars. Where some of these veterans might be disabled, for Pete's sake, because of, representing the country, fighting for the country, serving the country. They lost an arm, a leg, both. No. Then other people, they got their arms, they got their legs, but they're lazy mother bleepers that don't want to do anything. Oh, but it's okay. It's okay. We can help them out. And illegals. Okay, I better continue before I keep ranting. Wow, they need to learn to live on their own 2 feet and be responsible adults. Kamala, you sound like me talking about the bums that don't want to work. Why don't you say that about the bums that don't want to work, actually? Why don't you say that? Because they have not served anything for this country. They have served no purpose for this country. I'll continue. The easiest way to assist them on this jersey is to cut them off. I would love to say that to the bums. God. If you can work, you shouldn't. Yeah, they should get cut off. I mean, I could people upstairs. Cut them off. Within these next 4 years, we will be shuttering the VA, taking away soldier welfare. The money saved will go to better use in assisting refugee families. That probably won't work, right? Or if they do work, they'll work the system. Let me tell you, people working the system is everywhere around you in the workplace. Not just bums at home, but people in the workplace as well. That might be, from a different place. They may have literally come here to work the system. Not everybody's honest that comes here. Some of them are, some of them are not. I know that sounds bad. These poor folks seek asylum with us and need a boost, and it is our responsibility as a nation to provide it. So here's a message to the soldier boys: get a job. Here's a message to your people, Kamala, that voted for you and that will be voting for you illegally. Get a job. Why don't they get a job? That's sick, man. Fact checked. This was and is real. Shows more and more what we have today. Read through and see the attitude for immigrants and not those that serve this country. Can you imagine? Things about this direct quote by Democrat VP Kamala Harris. Please remember this at election time in 2022 and 2024. Please forward this to every vet you know, as I'm doing. This is the person who will become the President of the United States within 4 years when Biden becomes a bit more inanimate than he is at the moment. Because he's heading in the wrong direction. He's not healthy. He's not healthy. Mark Carlson responds, says, "Is that true? Wow, she has no clue what it's like to be a veteran, or worse, be a disabled veteran. Is that true? I need to bring this up at the next American Legion meeting, and also with the South Dakota chapter of the DAV. Then I will start a fire." You know, there are only two special classes in this country. One, politicians who believe that they are privileged and above the law. And two, illegal immigrants who believe our laws don't apply to them. Man, you nailed it, Mark. You really did. Absolutely nailed it. Let's see. I think Gerald String had another one here. Yep, here we go. Gerald String. He says, "Does scum of the earth mean anything to you, Joey? Which more folks would have used condoms back when some of these retards were conceived." Ooh. On another note, doesn't it break your heart on this Jeff Gladney deal? Oh, yeah, Jeff Gladney. Like, what the bleep was he thinking? Yep, that's more Viking related. I'll probably save that for the Purple Mafia show. But it's unbelievable. It's unbelievable. Yeah, Jeff Gladney locally. Yep. Yeah, he basically got in trouble with the law, assaulting his girlfriend, all kinds of stuff. It's all alleged, but you know, it's just, I don't know. Some of it's real, most of it's real. Some of it's real, none of it's real. We don't know, but if and when, if it's all real, he's not going to be in the NFL much longer. Cancel culture is BS, but of course I know, but you don't want to. But if he did everything that was accused, then well, I guess so. I guess it's pretty bad. So. It's depressing. It's impressing. It's depressing, and at the end of the day is what I'm trying to say. Maybe I should read what he says. Like, WTF was he thinking? Wouldn't think a first-round draft pick in the NFL would have too much trouble finding a new chick. Sandin, stupid. Was it really worth it, dude? Come on, man. Use your brain. I have a temper also, but sometimes you have to get a grip. That dude might never see the field again, and really does make me feel bad. I'm sure he wishes he could take it back, but this new Me Too culture will just pile on. And yes, that's very true, and he's screwed. Sorry, I know you wanted to say it on your podcast, but you can't. All of us have parameters, and that's just facts of life. Yep. See, on Purple Mafia, it's a little different because it's not a political show, and this one is. So actually, this is probably better to read this on this show. Yeah, I could see that. Yep. I understand. Yep, and you could tell I wanted to say that. Yeah, it's just because it is cancel culture, Me Too stuff. It is bad. It is bad, and at the same time, what he did was bad, but the cancel culture is bad too. I mean, it's just two wrongs don't make a right. This and that. That's about pretty much where I stand, and that's probably about it for this episode of the Freedom of Thought podcast. I really appreciate the interaction, this and that. And I'd like to be back more and more often. It'll be random. There's never going to be like a scheduled release of this show until maybe I get to a point where I have a 9-to-5 type of job rather than a second shift type of job. And plus, my wife's job is pretty all over the place, her schedule. And I don't think I want to record this show when she's home. It's very difficult. Actually, I don't think she wouldn't like some of the stuff I say, this and that. Because she's paranoid she's paranoid about a lot of things. Like, oh no, don't say that, you could get in trouble. And I'm not really saying anything that bad. So at least I hope not. But she's paranoid about everything, and I understand her. And it's probably better that I just kind of, keep quiet about things until she's not home. I know I probably shouldn't even be saying this, but it is what it is. This is, she gets riled up basically at the end of the day. Riled up and nervous, this and that. So when it comes to politics, where sports are sports, it's just a simpler thing at the end of the day. Thank you all so much for listening to this show. I appreciate it. Please write a positive rating for Freedom of Thought on the iTunes or Apple Podcasts is what it is. Stitcher is another place you can do it, and Audible so far are places that I know you can do that. With that said, God bless all of you. May the Lord bless you. May the Lord bless you. Well, we have a wonderful spring here, and that regardless what happens in the George Floyd trial, I hope I hope people are civil, and that this just, that we don't go back to all the craziness we went through last summer. With that said, again, hope to release another show again very soon. Until then, take care, and God bless the United States of America.